All right.
Hello, and happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
And welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts.
My name is Anthony Ihrig, the other host.
And today we have joining us Ms. Becky Kapell from St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh, nice.
Joining us from all the way across the river here in Minneapolis.
It depends on where you are in Minneapolis.
True.
Common misconception that you have to cross the
True.
river.
But for in the instance of Anthony and myself, we do live near Lake Nokomis, so it would be across the river.
It definitely is across the
for
river,
us.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we are very excited to have you here, and it looks like folks are joining the party right on time. Alan even came in a few minutes early, ready for the back catalog. And Alan, we see that you're drinking tea and honey. I hope you are feeling okay. But hopefully, as you say, the back catalog listening party to soothe the ears and the soul. Connie, hi from Richfield.
Hey, Connie.
And Chris from Savage, ice
Hey,
cold
Chris.
beer time. And you know what?
Oh.
It's beer day for me too.
Nice.
It's a classic old style kind of day for me.
Well, beer all around.
Beer,
Old style.
all right. What are you
Beck-
drinking? Saga, Summit
Oh, yeah.
Saga.
Nice. A good St. Paul beer
That's
Yep.
right.
right
That's
there.
right.
And if it's over 90 degrees in Twin Cities, I'm back to my Polliner wheat beer.
Yeah,
one
your
of my-
German beer, right?
it's my heritage, and it soothes it soothes mine on a hot day like today.
Well, cheers. And cheers,
Cheers.
Matt from Urbana, Illinois. And tell us where you're tuned in from, what if you're drinking a beverage, having a snack. Tell us what you are doing on your Friday. What we're doing is we're going to talk with Becky about some tunes. We're going to revisit her 2018 release, That Certain Ache. We're going to answer your questions and get lots of good songs to share with you. So thank you for joining the party. And Becky Kapell, we've all known each other for a while now, but maybe for folks who maybe are less familiar with you or your music, Becky, you can sort of give the 2-minute bio. Like where'd you grow up, how'd you fall into songwriting, and in particular maybe where this record falls into your discography.
Okay, yes. Well, I was born in St. Paul, Minnesota, about
All right.
3 miles from where I live now. So, I grew up in Mahtomedi, Minnesota. I moved to Portland, Oregon when I was 19 and lived there until I was 33. Met some musicians there, started singing in a band, but only sang, didn't ever write songs or play an instrument or anything, mostly sang backup. And then got married, had kids, moved back to Minnesota, and was pretty much like a soccer mom for a number of years. And then I got divorced, and I somehow picked up a guitar. My son was a guitar player, started playing it, and songs just started coming out of me. I started teaching myself the 3 chords I knew: G, C, and D. I just tried to
You
get
do
better
a
at
lot
it.
with those 3 chords. Yeah.
That's
All
all
you
you
need.
need. Three
Pretty
chords
much.
and the truth.
Pretty much. I did discover that I could do pretty much any song I wanted to do with those 3 chords. So that was my goal. I just wanted to, accompany myself and sing a little bit, but then songs just kind of started coming out. So that's my
Excellent.
story. That's the beginnings of the
Wonderful. And this album, That Certain Ache, was this, let's see if I can get this right. Is this your second
story. It was
solo
my,
record?
Yeah, it was my second. So my first one was called For Now, and it was under the name Miss Becky. And I recorded that in Portland, even though I was living here, because I didn't know any musicians here. So when I first started writing songs, I kind of ran them past some of my friends out there, and they're like, "Oh, those are really good. You should, record them." So I did with some of my friends out there, and over like a couple years, and so that was that one. And then once I had that record, I was like, well, I can't go back and forth to Portland and play with people really. So I should probably figure out how I fit in here in Minnesota. So started going out and hearing music, which I really hadn't done for, a lot of the stuff that happened around here in the 90s and 2000s, I had no part of. So anyway, I started going out, and I met you, Ellen.
Do you remember where we met? I don't remember.
We met, I believe, at a hootenanny, at one of Jim Walsh's hootenannies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you had done something there, and I was aware of who you were.
Oh, uh-oh.
Better word.
And then I think I always carried around that first record, For Now, in my purse. I used it just as a calling card, like, well, I write songs and da da da. And I probably gave you one, and you said, oh, you should come to I have a songwriting thing at my house.
That's
And
right. You
yeah.
were a part of my songwriting group pretty early
Which is
on.
where
Yeah.
I met you, Becky, actually.
Yes, exactly. And
At my
Anthony, you
house.
were exactly at your house. Yes, Ellen. And I actually, one of the songs, I think it's the first one that we're going to play on the record, I think was the first song that I played for you guys at the songwriting thing. And Quillen Rowe was there. And
Wow,
so
it was
nervous.
like an all-star cast.
I was
Wow.
I was so nervous and everything. But then, yeah, later as I was like trying to figure out where I fit into, Anthony, do you remember that you played with me one time at Ginkgo? You played
Yeah,
banjo.
all three of us did that.
Oh
all
my
three
goodness
did, yes.
gracious!
Yes.
That's another lifetime ago.
That was a long time
Yes.
ago. I mean, I don't know what year that was. Probably,
Wow.
I don't know.
I love that we all forgot this. We're just
Yes.
like,
It
oh
was-
yeah,
it was-
that's where we met.
It was pre-kids for me, which you know how it goes. It's like
Yes.
it's all blur after the kids were born.
Right,
So.
exactly. So, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So,
we
anyway.
are so excited that that you shared those songs and that you got involved in this Twin Cities music community, because I'd say now you are a fixture within it for sure. And this album that we're going to talk about today was probably the first record you recorded here in the Twin Cities, right?
Yes, it was.
So
And how cool is it that at your house she was demoing the first song we're going to hear? I think that what
I
a,
know.
what a great
I
tie-in.
didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Well, let's get the party started, because I know folks are like ready. This has just been a week for a lot of us, and I
can
feel
tell.
like
Yeah.
people joining the party on time. They're like, let's get the music going. So let's crank up the tunes. And this first song, "Say Goodbye," as we mentioned, you I probably first heard you play it in my house. But maybe
You just
is
don't
there
remember.
anything? Yeah, well, it was a long time ago,
long
and
time
so
ago.
is there anything you want to say about it before we take a listen, or you just talk about it afterwards?
Yeah, it's a song. Well, it was a song that I wrote. It's a breakup song that I wrote about. I didn't break up with the person that I wrote it about until like 5 years later, so it took me a while. But I should have known early on, as you'll hear in the song.
Right on. Well, we've all been there for sure. Well, this is what a great way to kick off our Friday listening party. This is Becky Kapell, "Say Goodbye," here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
I was doing just fine till you came along. Happiness was mine and I sang my own song. You pined for me, but you sat and dry, and I think I need to say goodbye. Yeah, I think I need to say goodbye.
saying goodbye to the work week with a great tune from Becky Kapell here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. Becky joining us live from St. Paul today, and you joining us from wherever you might be on this hot Friday. And Brian Just, another great local musician tuning in.
Oh,
Hey, you lovely people.
Brian.
Brian, we need to have you on the show, so I'm
Sure
going to
do.
follow up with you about that. But that song, I forgot. It's been so long since I've heard the recorded version of that song, and I forgot how much I love the percussion and
Yeah.
stuff
Man, it was
going on
rocking.
in that.
Yeah, that was Eric Koskinen on drums, which we put on after the fact because pretty much the whole record, that certain ache, we recorded in Paul Virgin's basement. You heard him on the guitar there, and he produced the record. But yeah, we recorded in his basement using mostly drum loops, and then after the fact, put on drums, and it was Eric that put on drums.
Oh,
his
nice.
studio, so.
Which is cool because, as many of you
weird.
probably know, Eric Koskinen, known as, of course, a great guitar player and
Yeah.
songwriter and
Songwriter.
singer. Yeah, but I don't think most people think of him as a drummer. So
I don't think so.
I loved it. Yeah, it had
I got him for cheap that way. 'Cause
kind of like a
just
T-Bone
wanted to-
Burnett vibe going on there.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
That was really really rocking. And it's so interesting that you mentioned that you had written that while you're still with the person, and it took you along a little ways before that. So did this person hear the song?
Oh yeah, I used
and-
to introduce it as, "Here's a breakup song about my current boyfriend." Poor guy. He took a lot of abuse from me. No, not really. Not really. Yes.
Well, it's-
anyway, yeah.
Well, it's funny because I was just interviewing one of our past guests, Edie Carey, on my radio show recently, and actually she was talking about that same thing, that sometimes songs tell
Yeah.
you truths before you really even realize them yourself. Like sometimes you think you're writing like a story song or just a song with a cool line, and then you realize as you're like singing it like more and more, you're like, oh, this is about me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, most of my songs are pretty personal. Actually, I don't. Yeah, some people say, "Oh, you should write a song about blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Ah, yeah, it doesn't work that way for me. I just it comes out or it doesn't, you know."
Mm.
I get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first, because you were saying, you came to songwriting a little bit later, you've been singing music for a while, making music, but do you remember like the first song you wrote? Like, do you remember how that felt or what it was about?
Oh yeah, I do, and it was not very good, but yeah, it was. My whole first record was kind of all about an unrequited love, and pretty much every song is kind of about that. So the first one did not make the record, but the first one that I wrote did not make that record. But yes, I do remember it, and it was. I remember thinking that's not very good. But it had to come out.
But that's how you get good, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
just
I didn't
keep-
really share that one with anybody, so
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I kept trying. But it was actually a big deal to actually even write down words that were like on paper, that were describing my feelings, and that there was some potential that other people might hear that. Because I write in a journal a lot. I just write dribble, just complete dribble. It's not any kind of prose or anything. And that's kind of what happened is I was just writing a lot because I was in a lot of angst. And so I noticed I just kept having these kind of repeating phrases and themes as my mind was looping around on things. And so that's how some of the songs came out, was just kind of repeating a line that I kept writing down.
Interesting.
I guess, yeah.
And Joe had a question about the guitar on that. He was wondering if that was strumming or if it was or reverb. Just
I
sing
think
perfectly
sing
to me.
perfect.
Oh.
I wonder if he's talking about delay, like a delay.
Yeah, I
that's
think
kind of
so.
timed with
Right.
the
Yeah.
rhythm.
I'd have to go back and listen to it to remember, and we'd have to ask Paul for sure. That's Paul Virgin. I mean, there's definitely a couple different guitar parts on that song that he put on there, but I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know for sure. He
Well, that's
certainly
cool.
Paul definitely is good at syncing the having the delay thing do that rhythmic thing. So
Right,
okay.
but playing
So-
it live, but with effects and stuff.
Kind
Yes.
of timing it to the
Oh, yeah,
to the rhythm
yeah.
of the. So you
Yeah, it
mentioned
was
this was
that was definitely it was live. It wasn't like after the fact, like it was manipulated like that or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you were recording this in a basement? Were you guys just hanging out together while like doing it all at once then?
It actually was over like a couple years, and I'd go over to his house like sometimes on a Wednesday night, and just or a Wednesday night or a Friday night. Those were kind of the nights, but if he didn't have gigs, but yeah, and we just kind of piecemeal. He'd go, what do you got? And play a song. And so I'd play him something like he would never have, I mean, heard it before, but and then he'd try to find a drum loop that could have me just play. So I would just play my acoustic guitar along with the drum loop, and then he would just start adding parts as I sat there. Yeah, there was a lot of Jim Beam drunk, but yeah, it was like a very organic record. Let's put it that way. And when we were starting it, it wasn't like, well, let's make a record. It was just more like, let's record some songs and see what happens. So yeah, that was his idea. So that's what we did. Yeah.
Well, and I kind of like the idea, and this doesn't happen as much on like kind of this style of like songwriter records, but of playing to drum loops, because it's basically not any different than playing to a click track, except that you're kind of finding the feel of it then, and then you can either keep it in or not.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a way of giving structure to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead, Becky.
Oh yeah, it's a very cool thing. Like on the song That Certain Ache, which I think we'll play a little bit later. We never added any other drums. We just used the drum loop because it's so weird and strange and kind of wonderful. So there was no way anybody could have, recreated that.
Interesting.
Weirdness. Yeah.
So did this one start with that kind of country shuffle kind of beat? Like, because I mean, I was hearing like almost like a Johnny Cash kind of groove going on, and I could see how that would influence the recording in the end.
Yeah, I think he had found something that was just a good country shuffle beat, and he would find, he just would make little loops out of anything he'd find on some record or whatever, or maybe, he'd just find little, sections of something and then put it on repeat. Yeah.
Nice.
So
very cool. Well, and this is one of the things I love about Back Catalog Listening Parties. We've talked with now, what episode are we on, Tony?
121.
So 120 previous guests, and I feel like they've all recorded things differently. But I think this is the first time we've had a guest that's recorded in this or started the tracks in this way.
Yeah. Right.
So.
And oftentimes when people think drum loops, they're thinking of electronic music
or,
stuff like that. So it's great to also hear how it can be applied to, Americana and folk music.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, very cool. Well, if you just tuned into Back Catalog Listening Party, we're talking with Becky Kapell, joining us from St. Paul, revisiting her 2018 release, That Certain Ache, which was her second record. And she does have CD copies. So if you're liking the music as we're hearing it today, you should make sure to order a copy.
Mm-hmm.
She might even sign it. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. There's a copy right there.
What? And recorded in a basement, but it doesn't sound like it. I'll tell you that much. So you'll want the high-res audio tracks.
Yeah, that last one had some great stereo panning in it, and it really made a huge difference. Some of that delay stuff we were talking about.
Oh,
earlier.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Sounds
Eric
cool.
Koskinen, I think, mixed it all, and then, Paul did some mixing, but Eric did most of the mixing, and then Tom Garneau mastered it, so I had pretty good help on all that.
That's
The
great.
A-team.
Yeah, and this is what we're saying. This is the first record you made like in the Twin Cities, and you got like the A-list cast of people to join you. Which is pretty great.
Which is pretty great.
A testament to the music, the quality.
Yeah, the quality of the music, and also I think also a testament to our local music scene, because as you said, when you first moved back to town, and you wanted to start making music, you just went to a bunch of shows. I mean, that's how we met, and and you just kind of became a part of the scene by going to shows. And I think a lot for any of you musicians out there, whether you live in the Twin Cities or anywhere else, it's a great reminder that if you want to get more involved, just go to shows.
Yeah.
You'll meet people. Now that we can go to shows again.
Yes, yeah. Actually, that's funny because Paul Burgeon's son, Sam, is he's a great guitar player, and he's got a band, and he's been he's 22, and he's trying to get gigs, and he texted me about a month ago and said, how do you even get gigs? I email and no one emails me back. And I'm like, email. Never gotten a gig by emailing. you know.
I never got an email back from a promoter ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and
No,
it's getting to know other musicians because they're the ones who are gonna like
absolutely.
introduce you
Yes.
to places.
And I have gotten gigs by emailing now, but
Yeah.
yeah, just starting out. No, exactly. You meet other musicians, and then they say, "Oh, well, do you want to play?" I mean, like with you guys, it was like, well, there was something at Ginkgo. Oh, let's do this songwriters thing at Ginkgo, and or
Mhm.
that's how it works. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yes,
Well,
you youngsters,
Music Business 101 right here on Back Catalog Listening Party.
go hear music.
That's right. Go hear music, which is what we definitely encourage folks to do. And we're going to hear more music right now as we keep digging into this record that came out in 2018. This is Spend My Time. Is there anything you want to say about it before we take a listen?
I was really proud of the words for this one. I love this one. It captured this feeling of, so I'm alone a lot. And I am always like fantasizing about something or other, usually another person. But this song is about the kind of the romance of not being in a relationship and how it's really kind of more fun to sometimes to not live in that reality. So that's what it's about. And I was glad I caught the feeling of that.
All right. Well, let's give it a listen. This is Becky Kapell, Spend My Time, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
No one to talk with, nothing to do. So I spend my time thinking about you. I see no harm in acting this way. No one to talk with and not much to say. I choose to keep these thoughts left unsaid. Dreams stay alive when they're stuck in your head. And being alone's the most romantic thing. Unrealized love can't turn into hate. And I like the space. I like the space. I sleep alone with no one at my side, except for your ghost, and I'm your ghost bride. A love that will last for an eternity. Suspended in some other reality. And I like the space. I like the space.
Oh, I love the spacey vibe of that. Spend My
Yeah, it's
Time
weird.
from Becky Kapell's 2018 release, That Certain Ache, which we're revisiting today on the back catalog listening party with Becky herself. And yeah, you were saying it was like a love song to being alone. And I love that. And
Mhm.
and my husband would not be surprised that I'm saying this. I loved living alone. And
I
I
like
did for most of
space.
my adult life. So
Yes.
but I love it when you say I like the space, and then there's that long, drawn out, like airy guitar solo. It like
Yeah.
literally felt
Yes.
like an empty
Yeah.
house. It
Yeah.
just
The
it
whole
was so
song,
Yes.
really. I mean, there was
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
ton of space,
Yes. A lot of space.
and the groove was so like sparse, laid back, like just kind of like catching up to it. Like it really fascinating the way
Yeah.
that the music complemented the lyrics in this one, and it
Yeah.
really
Those.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Those
really
guys
great.
are. Yeah. That was Eric again. Eric Koskin playing those weird drums and just he had a
yes,
great time. And
great.
so yeah,
Well,
my
I
drum. No, I was just going to say the drummer that I play with now live is always trying to sort of recreate that on stage. I'm like, don't no, it's too hard to like play the song. It's
just
just play a waltz. Yeah,
yeah.
but
Well, and
yeah,
I love that there's several moments like in the like I don't know final quarter of the song where like you're like, is this the end? Because there's like enough of a pause where you're like, but I love that it's not. It's like
yeah,
I don't know. I love the taking your time, and I think that's what any of us who've lived alone who've enjoyed that experience knows that that's one of the privileges of that is that you're
that's
like you get
right.
to go at your own pace. You know, you're
Yes,
not beholden to anyone else, and I really got that when you talked about I'm the ghost and I'm the ghost bride. That just love that line. It's
yeah,
so great,
yeah,
so great.
yeah,
Yeah, that really was it was a I don't know, it like put me in a different kind of state of mind, like
oh, that's
listening
awesome.
to that. You know what I mean? Like I really felt like I like when you really kind of get into a song like that, you I don't know, find a little space. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah. And
cool.
the harmony vocals on that, was that you singing the harmony vocals?
Yeah, on both on all my records, I've done all my own harmony vocals actually. On the
Hmm.
first one, there's a little bit of somebody else, but anyway, yeah, no, this one is all me.
Hmm.
Yep.
So you are playing
nice.
both the narrator and the ghostly bride harmonies.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
It
exactly.
just dawned on me that like so sometimes you listen to a song, a love song, right, and you kind of empathize with the narrator or the protagonist or whoever it might be about
Mhm.
this unrequited love or whatever it might be. But as a parent of two small children, I found myself kind of in this fantasy land there
You're
during
like,
that song.
I know.
I've
Yeah, I
forgotten
mean,
what that was, but what a great kind
yeah.
of love song to that place. I love it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I have two adult children, so I did, and I was basically a single mother for all their teen years, and it was,
No
yeah,
space.
it was like I could not wait to, to, yeah, to come home and have my house left just the way I left it,
What?
which is all the time now, except for
Yeah.
my little doggie, Skeeter, wherever she
Oh,
is.
oh,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll see Skeeter a little bit later in the show.
We don't want to hear her though.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I also totally lost my train of thought. Oh, at the beginning of the song, the lyric, the way the song starts, it talks about, I spend my time thinking about you. And it's
Uh-huh.
funny how the song has a setup, like you think that's what the song is going to be. And
Yeah.
then as it goes on, you realize, no, it's, you might be thinking about that person, but that's not what the song's about. The song
Well,
isn't about that person as much as it
right.
feels like it's about you being in that
Yes.
space and
The
living in
space,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, the space of kind of just the fantasy space of
Mhm.
a non-existent love, I guess, or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Like
uh,
that
Unless it's
sometimes
better.
sometimes that's
the
it.
That's the
fantasy.
perfect relationship, right?
That's what I'm saying.
That is the perfect
I'm
relationship.
saying
Well,
Oh.
unrealized love can't turn into hate.
That's right.
That's one of the lines, you know. So, yeah.
Well, we're at the halfway mark of the show, so it's another a time I really want to tell people that they should go out and buy this, because we talked about the fidelity of this before, we listened, and it's really great. And this idea of using the stereo field, I noticed that I can see why the drummer wasn't able to recreate it, because the waltz beat was the guitar that was over in my left ear,
Yeah.
and the bass was on the kind of on the downbeat, and this is the kind of stuff that really transforms the listening experience for a song. And I say go to BeckyKapell.com. It's scrolling across the screen. Pick up one of those CDs. She'll send it to you right from her house, probably sign it, put on a nice pair of headphones or a nice set of speakers, and give this another listen. If you're listening on your phone right now, it'll be worth it.
And if you live alone, I'm just saying, crank.
Or if you fantasize about
Right. Or if you find yourself alone for a blessed 5 minutes, crank that last song and just have it fill the house.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And well,
Well,
yourself.
Well, we got a great question from Joni about your adult kids. Asked if they are into music or if they, kind of come to shows or supported your music.
Well, they're not watching now, so I'm quite sure. So that will tell you something. No. Well, my son really is a great guitar player, but he doesn't do that really at all anymore. He's got other interests, and my daughter she played fiddle, and she actually did an internship at Red House with Ellen. So at Minnesota Music Coalition.
Yeah,
and she did. She
were
was
both.
at Red House too. That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
She
Ellen
was like a super intern. She was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So nope, she's actually in the PR world now. So she doesn't do any music, but she's got a beautiful voice too. Early on we did some duets together of my stuff, and I love her voice. She's got a beautiful voice. So, but no, they're not really doing any music, but they're both doing other things and have fulfilled lives.
Nice.
Which
That's all
is
you can ask for.
And they support me when I ask them, can you come to this show? Or sometimes my daughter, my daughter sold merch. They sold merch for me at my CD release show that I had back in whenever that was. May, March,
yeah.
May. That's right.
May. Well, I think it was delayed from one of the many COVID waves, that happened. Which actually, this is a good time to mention that. So right today we are revisiting your 2018 release, That Certain Ache, which again is available, as Tony mentioned, on your website. But when they're there, they might also find that you have a brand new record, which just came out called In It to Win It. Yes.
Yes.
And by the way, that photo, I just need to share this insight because I happen to know this. It was taken at one of my favorite roadside motels in Minnesota that is also a favorite of Becky's, the Viking Junior, which is right off of the road when you're going to Mankato or St. Peter, right?
That's right at the end of St. Peter on the way to Mankato.
Have you ever stayed there, Tony?
I have not, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, anyway. Well, that decor tells you everything you need to know. She's sitting on the bed right there,
and
so it has
bedspread, and that's the curtains behind it. So I went and bought this. I went and bought this dress at the St. Peter thrift store for $2.
Oh my gosh! To match.
Paul took this picture of me at 1:30 in the morning.
Ben and I have stayed there a few times, and I don't know what the cost is now. Last time I stayed there was like $55.
65 now for a
65.
double. We always get the double. We always get the double room because that's the ones with the good curtains and bedspread.
Can you put the quarters in the bed and have it?
No, it's
rumble?
not like that.
Okay.
No, it's actually very clean.
It's like a very clean, basic room is what you're going to get.
I haven't done the black light thing, but they seem very clean. And,
right. Well, that's probably a good policy for
it's a
all
good value.
hotels.
And for a while there was a bowling alley right next to it.
Yeah, and I think there's an old broken down Kentucky Fried Chicken over there too.
But if you're especially if you're a musician, playing like a bar gig where you're not going to have a lot of take home money, staying at a place like the Viking Junior is primo.
Yep. They don't even know because I still stay. We stay down there a lot actually because Ihrig Koskinen now lives down there and he has a studio down there in Cleveland, Minnesota, nearby. So that's why we were down there quite a bit and staying at the Viking Junior.
Nice.
But anyway, I keep thinking I need to bring in and give them a CD, but I'm not quite sure how they'd react. I don't know. Anyway,
I'm sure they'd be honored.
Well, we just gave them a great advertisement. I'm just saying.
There you go.
That's right.
Clean, cheap, Roadside Motel, which there aren't enough of those anymore.
Oh,
so
that's right.
Today's back catalog is sponsored by.
We should hit them up.
oh my gosh, yes,
I
we'll
love,
have-
that it's called, I love that it's called the Viking Junior.
I know. They're, like, where does that come from? I know. Where's Papa Viking? We don't really know. Oh man, so good. Well, and again, you can pick up the new record, and I hear you have T-shirts too. Is this true?
It is. If I
But not the
almost
T-shirt
reached
you're
that.
wearing. Can you show, by the way?
Yeah, we were
listeners?
admiring that before we
It's
started here
Yeah, it's a hedgehog with a
Playing the
fez
drums.
drum.
with a fez.
I love
Yeah,
it.
with a fez.
So great.
So,
Oh man, very good.
Thank
well,
you.
well, while we're on the T-shirt promotion part of the show, I should say I'm wearing my Minnesota Bluegrass and Old Time Music Association T-shirt,
All
which there's a lot of this. This is the season for great outdoor events. Becky's going to be at Mears Park. Is it next Thursday? Next
yeah,
Thursday.
August 11th.
Next. That's a great downtown St. Paul gig. She'll be playing with Maida at 6 p.m. And then that weekend, Tony and I are going to be at the Minnesota Bluegrass Old Time Music Festival in Richmond, Minnesota.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing a live broadcast or live taping of this show there.
Yeah.
So if any of you are going to be out at the festival, and also Tony and I will both be playing and doing workshops and other things. So you can check out the full schedule at minnesotabluegrass.org. We'll put a link in the comments too. But again, go and support Becky and all these great musicians. Whether they live in Minnesota or elsewhere, I know folks are tuned in from all over the place. But you can check out Becky's schedule at beckykapell.com. But now we're going to dig into more music from this record because we want to get to as many songs as we can. And this is the title track that you were mentioning earlier. Is there anything you want to say about it?
Well, I would say this song was inspired by. I was listening to NPR, as I often do because I'm kind of highbrow. And Terry Gross was interviewing David Duchovny about, I think it was when the new X-Files were out,
Yeah.
and she asked about the relationship between Mulder and Scully, and he kind of paused and he goes, well, it definitely had that certain ache. And I was like, oh, that's cool, that certain ache. And then I was also listening to a lot of Dolly Parton at the time, and so the tune of this song sort of feels like an old Dolly Parton song to me. So that's how it came together.
Awesome, with an X-Files tie-in. I'm all about that.
Exactly.
I'm getting ready for the aliens.
This is pushing all my buttons. Becky Kapell, That Certain Ache, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Your touch is so tender, your eyes so sincere. You tell me you want me forever near, but please
Yeah, that
Nice.
certain ache sounds real sweet. That is Becky Kapell, the title track to her 2018 record, which we are revisiting today. And I say record because, in addition to it being the title track of this album that was released on CD that people can buy, you also have it as a 7-inch, right?
I do.
Ah,
Wow.
so this is the A side, right? That certain ache. What's on the B
Yes.
side?
Such a fool.
Which I think we're going to listen to next, so folks can get a
Yeah.
preview of this cool
Yes.
7-inch. And that's such a so I love that you said that that certain ache was kind of a little bit reminding you of sort of like a old Dolly Parton tune, and I can feel that. And is that why you thought like, oh, I want to put this on vinyl, like?
Oh no, I was just I think somebody just talked me into like, oh, you should make some vinyl, and I couldn't afford a whole record, and so I just did that. And and for me as a kid too, it's like my mother only had 45s. We called them 45s back then. And this is played on 45 speed, by the way. I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what we listened to, and you'd flip it over and flip it over and flip it over. So my mother had a pretty great little record collection, which I have right back there in that room now.
Oh,
I was to ask about
Me
the
too.
record collection because, like, at least with the first song we listened to and this one, I'm getting this kind of classic country vibe. Was that something that were you born and raised on this stuff?
No.
No.
No. Well, actually, okay.
Yeah, what's in that record collection behind
I was
you?
gonna
Yeah,
say,
right.
okay. Actually, I will say,
Mostly Phil
in that
Collins.
record collection, the things that influenced me the most were Johnny Cash. She had "Don't Take Your Guns to Town," and on the other side, Frankie and Johnny. And I think in there, although it's not in that pile anymore, it was "Walk the Line," and I think that probably blew my mind. And then also she had Everly Brothers, the Wake Up Little Susie, and I can't remember what's on the other side of that one because I never listened to the other side. So she had those couple things, but otherwise, no, it was more like kind of doo-woppy kind of stuff, which I also love because it did instill in me a love of harmony. Like there was that song, I don't know if you know this song, "Life Could Be a Dream." Life could be a dream. Shaboom, if I could take you up to paradise up above. Anyway, I used to like do the whole song. I could do all the parts. Shaboom, shaboom, like I could do the whole thing. And I just loved harmony from the time I was very small. So
Well, now I want to
think in
see
some
the
ways-
doo-wop version of Becky Kapell.
Yes.
I want you to do a
yes.
show
I would
sometime.
I kind of am more as I'm playing it. I really am kind of getting more into like that, just that early rock and roll, which is really the kind of country music that I love. It's like it's really rock and roll, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at, and that is I'm definitely inspired by country music. But no, my parents, not really. They weren't. My dad didn't like anything with drums, and he only listened to classical music and music. My brother is a great musician and just kind of a real natural, can kind of play anything he wants. But I was never really that way, and I wasn't really encouraged that much. Sorry, Mom and Dad, but you did. It's true.
That brings up another question then for me. That was kind of crossing my mind in that, like, in a lot of these arrangements, the guitars are like a whole nother part, like almost like another hook in the
Absolutely.
song. And so I'm just curious about the kind of composition process. Are you coming with more just like lyrics and guitar chords?
Oh yeah, no, I just play, as Paul says, just play your song.
Okay. And then
so-
they're just adding these other elements.
Yeah. And that's really all Paul. I mean, I think that last song we listened to, that certain ache, was we did that in one night, and I wanted to do it over because I just wrote this song like literally days before that. And he's like, "What's that song?" So we did it, and he like recorded me, and I was like, "Okay, well now let's really do it." And he's like, "No, this is perfect. This is great." And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." I wasn't even sure about the structure of the song yet or anything, and then but yeah, he adds all those lovely guitar lines in there and comes up with all that. So
Yeah, and I was just going to point out Joe's comment. The guitars are doing a whole lot of things sometimes that other groups leave to the keyboards. And yeah, I agree.
Oh.
Sensitive, deft mixing because,
oh
yeah, really,
So
really nice
tasty.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then David also apparently is a proud owner of your 45 and
Way to go, David.
verifies the speed at which to play, which you'd probably find out pretty quick if you tried it at 33 and it wasn't working.
Oh yeah, and he says you need an adapter. I can't remember. Does it?
No,
have,
he
I
said
thought
you will not need an adapter.
Not, oh,
he
right.
said.
It's got the small hole.
Small
right.
hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know
All
what
right.
costs more for the big hole? I found out. Isn't that
Really? That's so funny.
I don't know. So, anyway.
Well, again, you can get the 7-inch 45 version of That Certain Ache and Such a Fool at Becky's website, as well as the CD version. And we're going to hear the B-side right now,
Nice.
Such a Fool. Is there anything you want to say about this song?
Should I say anything about this song? Oh, it's really one of my favorite songs, and I mean the story behind it was that I was at a local bar here, and several years ago, when I was going out to hear music, and I had a boyfriend at the time. Anyway, there was a guitar player on stage that I swear during his solo, he was just staring right at me, and I was like, was that guy staring at me? Oh, oh. And then
This note's for you.
exactly. And then I was like, I kind of looked away because it was uncomfortable, and then I looked up and he was still staring at me. And then, have you ever seen the Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox
Yes.
story?
Yeah.
Well, I was looking at you when I was playing my song, wasn't I? That's how he got his wife. Anyway, then and when he was done with the solo, he looked away, and I was just like, oh my God. He was like, that was a stare down. And my boyfriend turned to me and said, that guy he used a swear word, with his eyes.
Whoa.
I don't know if we could swear. And I was like, whoa.
So it wasn't just you, yes.
And the guy did not. I know. I played that bar now. You can't see. Like the lights are there's. I know. He wasn't looking at me. So that's what the song is about. It's like, was he looking at me or something else? So here we go.
All right. This is Becky Kapell, Such a Fool, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
I walk into the bar, the doorman tips his hat. Yes, I've been here a time or two before. Your buddies say hello, but you keep your eyes low. And as I take my seat, I feel you watching me. And though we barely spoke, except for one lame joke, I made you laugh, you smiled at me. a fool. Yeah, did your eyes meet mine, or were you staring at the neon rainbow sign behind me? Oh, I'm such a fool.
All right. Becky Kapell,
Nice.
such a fool here on the back catalog listening party from her album That Certain Ache. Available on that CD, but also available as the B-side to her 7-inch of That Certain Ache. So you can get it in vinyl or in CD or both. You don't need to
exactly.
choose.
That's right. And the vinyl does come with a download card,
Hey,
just
there
for the
you
two
go.
songs that are on here, though. But FYI.
Nice. Well, it's a
Very
great
cool.
way to support an artist. So if you like what you're hearing, even if it's just more of an artifact for your wall and you like to stream your music, it's a lot bigger than a CD and a whole lot prettier than an MP3.
Well,
Yeah.
So
speaking of pretty, I was just going to
Thank you,
say,
Ellen.
I was going to ask about the artwork because
Yes.
it is really beautiful.
Yeah, this is my, you can't see. Yeah, thank you. This is my bathroom wall. That's in my upstairs bathroom. It's a hand-painted mural. It's the entire bathroom, all the walls in the bathroom.
Wow.
Painted by the woman that lived here for 68 years in my house.
no way.
I've lived in this house for almost 25 years, and there was another couple that lived here for 2 years before, but otherwise the same family
is
and
so
woman lived.
cool.
I have the hand-drawn house plans for this. Anyway, she was a China painter, and she painted murals apparently in several rooms, but the bathroom is the only one that survives. So that is there, and you can actually see like actually on the CD too. You can see the picture that is you can see cracks and stuff on the wall and some of
Wow.
this. Yeah,
That is amazing.
it's really cool. And then there's actually a video for the song That Certain Ache that you can see on
So you can get a tour of Becky's bathroom.
exactly. Because Sarah Jean Shervin, who had directed that video, she was obsessed with my bathroom. I want to make a video in here.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a really, what a great feature though. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
it's
great.
okay.
So is that the only room that has like
That's-
artwork?
Yeah, that's the only surviving one. There is my kitchen door is toll painted. Apparently the cupboards used to be all the toll painting, the Scandinavian
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
painting. There is a door in my kitchen that still is that.
I
Yeah.
love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Old houses. That's special.
That's
Yes.
really cool. That's
Yeah.
great.
Did you meet the previous owner? I mean, did you have any connection?
I
with
didn't
them, or-
get to meet Mrs. Hanson, but but her daughters, who are like in their 80s now, used to come and visit, and they showed me several cool little quirks that in the house. So
I love it. I love
and
it.
their dad, really kind of designed it, and I don't know I don't think he built it, but he was an attorney over on Rice Street. Anyway,
All right.
it's pretty interesting. Yeah. So
Super cool.
Well, and I don't know if you've done much recording in the house, but I know there's at least, in addition to the bathroom video, I remember that you did some live video sessions a ways back. Where a few Minnesota bands came in and recorded videos. But do you ever
yeah.
have you ever recorded any of your own music in this beautiful space you have?
No, we have not done that. During COVID, we did just a lot of getting together and doing stuff. Did we record? No, we didn't record anything here. During COVID, we recorded stuff over at Paul's house again, and for the last record that came out, a couple of those songs were just recorded in his living room, but not here. Yeah, I don't know why.
And then Joni asked again, what song is that video with the bathroom in it?
It is the That Certain Ache.
That Certain Ache.
All right.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yeah.
That's the
And
one.
we'll try and pull up that video link and put it in the
Okay.
in
Put
the
it
chat
in the
too.
show notes.
Yes.
Backcataloglistingparty.com/121. But just before we lose that thread about the house, we've had a couple guests on the show that recorded in old houses like yours, and so often the house becomes like another player on the record. So
Yeah.
maybe
Well,
something
it's
to
plaster
consider.
walls and everything. and
Yeah.
So I know there can be.
It's not just a square either, right? I can already
Right.
tell it looks
Yeah.
like that. There's some interesting
this
lines.
is an addition that I'm in now in the back room here, and but yeah, the rest of it is right. It's kind of a long living room, and
Very
And
cool.
all the original things were left, so it's not. I mean, nobody messed it up. Let's just say.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Well, if you've enjoyed the show, by the way, you have like a minute or two to get in your last minute questions for Becky. You can throw them in the comments. And while you're doing that, we want to mention again that you can get the album at beckykapell.com, either CD or vinyl version. You can also check out her new album, merch, shows, all those things. And there's also a tip jar as well if you just want to throw some money her way. Now, we can't guarantee that she's going to stay in a fancier motel than the Viking Junior, because why would you? But
But you know what?
it'll fuel the gas tank, which is important these days, and
Yeah.
Right.
and maybe help with her home studio gear if she wants to record in her house. So
That's
you can
right.
do all that stuff there. And we should also mention, I think maybe we might go out with a jam out from the record. But before we do that, we
Yeah.
want to encourage folks to, again, check out Becky and her band live. Her band, The Fat Six, are awesome. And they're playing not just this Thursday at Mears Park in St. Paul, but also at the State Fair, playing a couple nights,
Yeah.
the last 2 nights of the State Fair. So if you're making the trek to
Afternoon.
the Great Minnesota Get Together, you can check that out. And we also want to thank you for tuning in because, and if you like the show, like it, give it the
Oh,
thumbs
yeah.
up on
Give
YouTube,
give it a thumbs up.
and direct more bots to Becky Kapell. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel because we do this every week, not every week with Becky, but with other great musicians and songwriters. So we'll be doing this next week. And next week we'll be live from the Minnesota Bluegrass Festival. We're doing a taping, but we'll also be doing another fun remote from the festival. And Poe Ramblin'
Graphic
Boys.
here. Poe Ramblin' Boys, Grammy-nominated bluegrass
Yeah.
band. They're one of the headliners of the Bluegrass Festival, and Ellen and I get to sit down with them 2:30 p.m. next Friday, August 12th, the Minnesota Bluegrass Festival. If you're out there, you should come check it out, and you can ask questions live, which is really fun. And it's only the second time we've done that, so. But
Yeah.
we're going to do our best of next week.
Right. So we'll also do a live broadcast at 4 at our usual time, as well as the taping. So there's a couple amazing things we got going on next Friday. So you'll want to check that out. But we also want to thank the people that keep the show going all the time, our Patreon supporters.
Yeah.
Penny, Anna, Linda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Galen, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, and John, Fred, Tim, Sarah, David, Jocelyn, Court, Matt, Steve, Mark, Homestead Pick and Parlor, Severin, Lynn, Craig, Jake, Mary, Many Tracks, and Nikki, and maybe you. You can support the show there. And we do lots of special things for our Patreon people. We have some cool things cooked up for the fall. So you can join the party or keep the party going. Either way, the most important thing is you joining us for the shows and
Tell
sharing it with your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends about it. We are on Instagram. We kind of share some stuff during the week to kind of get you pumped up for the show. And but mostly we just appreciate you coming every week. Connie, thank you. Joni, thank you. It's this started during COVID when we couldn't see people, and it was tough. But it turns out this is still such a special gathering place because we get to
great.
celebrate artists like you, Becky. Thank you so much for spending an hour
Geez,
with us.
thank you guys. This is amazing.
So awesome. And hopefully I'll see you in real life soon. And
Get your T-shirt.
exactly. I totally need a T-shirt, a Becky Kapell T-shirt. Although I really also want the shirt that you're wearing right now, Becky. I need to find out where you got that.
Hedgehog with a fez,
My friend
yeah.
Julie Keefe gave this to me for my birthday
So
one
cool.
year. Yeah, I
So
know.
cool. Well, right now, I think we could maybe go out. We can maybe hear a little snippet of this song as we go out here.
Sure.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Let's do it. Do you want to say anything about the Hungry Dog?
This was just when I was listening to a lot of Waylon, which I still listen to a lot of Waylon Jennings, and I was into trying to just do a 1-chord song, but it's 3 chords. But
Getting
Nice.
fancy there with the
Well,
3 chords.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go out with the Hungry Dog. It's a great way to kick off your weekend. Everybody, enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next week here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. Cheers to you.
Woo!
Love is a hungry dog, and he's snapping at my heel. Throw it a bone to call it off, but I think I'm gonna be its next meal. Love is a dog
some righteous guitar playing.
Yeah.
That dog keeps chasing me. Why won't he just let me be? Love is a dog, a hungry dog.
This one is so much fun live.
Love is a river all swelled up in the spring. I built a dam to stop the water, but the dam don't do a damn thing. Love is a river. Love is a river. Love is a river. A mighty river. The spring rain keeps coming down, and I believe that I might drown. Love is a river, a mighty river.
Well, have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Becky.
Thanks, guys.
All
So
right.
much fun.
We'll see you next week here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. Cheers to you.
Woo!